Hello and welcome back to Road TRIpVIA, the once-a-day road trip trivia quiz. Today's episode is number 911. The category is You Can Quote Me. This is a trivia quiz that was sent in by Trish and Tom. I know you guys have already played some of their quizzes. They know what they're doing. They're practically experts at the trivia writing game. I'll try to do it justice by reading the questions to you. 20 questions up front, question 21 at the very end if you need a tiebreaker. Good. Question 1. Appearing in 46 Warner Brothers cartoons from 1942 to 62, constantly pursued by an incompetent predator named Sylvester, who never manages to catch and eat him, what yellow-feathered avian says, I taught a putty-tat, when he spots the would-be gourmand? That cartoon character is Tweety Bird. Question number 2. One of the most recognizable first line of any novel is, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, in Charles Dickens' novel about the French Revolution. Captain Kirk is given a copy of the book on his birthday and reads aloud from it in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. What is this famous story? That line is from A Tale of Two Cities. Question number 3. Ocean in View, Oh the Joy, is inscribed on a 2005 U.S. nickel commemorating the historic journey of an expedition to explore and map the newly acquired Louisiana Purchase. Who was the leader of this quest who excitedly wrote these words in his journal? His name is William Clark. Question number 4. Clint Eastwood stars as a cop who holds a bank robber at 44 Magnum Point, bluffing him into surrendering by claiming not to remember if he's fired 5 shots or 6. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? Who is this plain-spoken policeman? His name is Harry Callahan, or Dirty Harry. Question number 5. This French astrologer and physician is famous for his predictions, which are said to foretell the French Revolution, the rise of Adolf Hitler, and the atomic bomb. In 1556, he made his final prediction. Tomorrow, at sunrise, I shall no longer be here. And he was right. What is his name? The answer is Nostradamus. Question number 6. In 1944, during the Battle of the Bulge, General Anthony McAuliffe's troops of the 101st Airborne Division were surrounded, outnumbered, and running out of supplies. The Germans sent a message demanding the Americans surrender. McAuliffe replied with what now famous one-word answer? The Germans wanted the Americans to surrender, and he replied, nuts. Question number 7. In Pixar's Toy Story, cowboy doll Woody is hurt and jealous when a new toy who believes he is a real spaceman seems to replace Woody in their owner's affections. What is the full name of this overconfident plaything who proclaims, to infinity and beyond? The answer, Buzz Lightyear. Question number 8. This Hollywood actor and former governor of California was not a fan of big government regulation and spending. At a 1986 press conference, he declared, "The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Who was this popular U.S. president? The answer, Ronald Reagan. Question number 9. Known as the Sultan of SWAT, he hit 714 home runs in his 22-season career, inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936 and posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1918. What slugger famously said, "Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game"? The Sultan of SWAT was Babe Ruth. Question number 10. Hired to investigate Roger Rabbit's wife, Eddie goes to watch her perform at a nightclub expecting a fluffy bunny, but instead a sultry tune woman slinks on stage crooning, "Why don't you do right?" In spite of her voluptuous looks, Jessica defends her character by saying, what iconic phrase? She says, "I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way." Question number 11. Since 1966, this has protected a person under arrest's Fifth Amendment right not to answer questions that may incriminate him. Just like on TV, the arresting officer usually begins with, "You have the right to remain silent." What is this warning, stemming from a Supreme Court case, called? That warning is called the Miranda warning, or read your Miranda rights. Question number 12. This Looney Tunes character is the archenemy of Bugs Bunny, but fortunately is completely inept at hunting. His signature phrase is, "Shh, be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits." What is the name of this silly sportsman? His full name is Elmer Fudd. Question 13. This French peasant girl, known as the Maid of Orleans, is the patron saint of warriors and of France. Witnesses said as she was being burned at the stake for heresy, her last words were, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." Who was she? The Maid of Orleans is Joan of Arc. Question 14. In his 1963 speech in West Berlin, he said, "Ich bin ein Berliner," meaning, "I am a Berliner." West Berlin was surrounded by communist East Germany, and he was expressing his solidarity with the beleaguered citizens. Who was this eloquent president? Sorry about the German. The answer is John F. Kennedy. Question 15. Khan, the arch-villain in Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan, really doesn't like Captain Kirk. As he, his crew, and his ship are being annihilated, he says, "From hell's heart I stab at thee, for hate's sake I spit my last breath at thee." This line is originally from what popular 1851 revenge novel? That novel is Moby Dick. Question 16. Author Edward Bulwer Lytton is often mocked and parodied for his florid style and melodramatic plots, and everyone from Snoopy to Madeleine L'Engle has used this well-known phrase from Bulwer Lytton's Paul Clifford as the first sentence of their own novels. What is this well-used, infamous phrase? He is the first one to write, "It was a dark and stormy night." Question 17. Wizard Gandalf the Grey, facing the dreaded Balrog in the Mines of Moria, stands his ground, allowing the rest of the Fellowship to escape the monster. His iconic pose and words have been seen everywhere, signs and memes included. Brandishing his staff and shouting what four-word phrase? You can picture it. He stands there and he says, "You shall not pass." Question number 18. This 1975 thriller features Amity Island Police Chief Martin Brody, young oceanographer Matt Hooper, and grizzled shark hunter Quint on the trail of a man-eating great white shark. When the shark briefly surfaces, it is much larger than he expected. What iconic movie line does Chief Brody say? He says, "You're gonna need a bigger boat." Question 19. 24 years after JFK's Ich bin ein Berliner speech, another president, also speaking in West Berlin, challenged the head of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." 2 years later, the wall did come down. Who was this trailblazing president? The answer? Ronald Reagan. Question 20. Major General John Sedgwick of the Union Army was killed by a Confederate sharpshooter in 1864 in Spotsylvania, Virginia, after berating his men for dodging bullets when the Confederate riflemen were over 1,000 yards away. What were his final words? He said, "Come on, they couldn't hit an elephant at this distance." And then he was shot. All right, that is it for today. Thank you for watching today's episode. Now, question 20, that last one, when I first read that, I laughed. Then I decided I won't put it in the quiz because it's too hard. There's no way anybody would ever guess that. And then I read it again and I laughed, and then I looked it up to make sure that it was at least true, and it is true. And I wasn't going to put it in the quiz, but then I thought, well, that'd be a good one to end on. I don't know if anybody got that right. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that story before, but I looked it up. It was true. Now, there is a little discrepancy over what his exact final words were, but he did say that in his last paragraph while he was yelling at his guys who were laying down and scared because they were getting shot at. He said they're over 1,000 yards away. You know, they couldn't hit an elephant from this distance. Then apparently he said a few more things. But anyways, he was shot while he was yelling at him and died right there. So it's a true story. I've attached an article in the description below so you can actually go and read it. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that story before. Like I said, if I was playing this trivia quiz, there's a 0% chance I would have got anywhere close to that. But I thought it was funny, and I thought it would be a good one to end on. So if you missed that one, join the club. I'm sure everybody else did. It was funny. Thank you, Trish and Tom. One of the best things about trivia is even when you're not guessing it correctly, you're hopefully learning something. And even if you're not learning something, hopefully you're at least having fun while you're playing. That's the whole point of the game. And very few questions have made me laugh as much as trying to decide how I wanted to ask that question, because the way that they wrote it out, it stopped right in the middle of distance, and I can just picture him yelling at somebody. It would be a good scene of a movie. They couldn't hit an elephant from this distance. Dead. Anyways, maybe my sense of humor is different than your guys' sense of humor, but hopefully you at least stick around for tomorrow's trivia quiz. We've got another viewer submitted one. I think you guys are going to like it. And then Friday, we've got Friday night pub quiz. That's the 21 question quiz from all different categories with all different levels of difficulty. seems to be everybody's favorite. That's the one that always gets the most views. So that's Friday. Got another viewer submitted quiz on Saturday, and then the lightning round on Sunday per usual. I should be back in England on Monday, I believe. I think that's July 4th, which is American Independence Day. I got a special American trivia quiz set up for July 4th. So if you like America, stick around for that. Here is question 21, the tiebreaker for today's trivia. This young Jewish girl is one of the most celebrated victims of the Holocaust, largely because of the diary she kept while hidden in concealed rooms in Nazi-occupied Amsterdam. It was published after her death, and though her short life was hard, she wrote, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart." Who was she? The answer is Anne Frank. Now, question 21 is another one that I considered not putting into the trivia quiz because to me that one was pretty easy. Most people know that one. But sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times people tell me my questions are too hard or that I ask questions that are too specific. This is why I like getting questions and quiz submissions from viewers, because the stuff that I know and the stuff that I like is probably a pretty slim amount of the information that is available in the world. So when people submit questions that they like, then I feel more confident that this channel is asking questions and playing trivia games that appeal to a wide variety of people. Now, there are people all over the world that watch Road TRIpVIA. I mean, it's like 15 or 16 different countries on average every month, and it's Australia to the UK to the Philippines to Africa. So it's very hard to write especially a pop culture trivia quiz that appeals to everybody. So when people submit them that watch this channel, especially if they're from a different part of the world and a different train of thought, I love it because it's getting everybody involved. So don't hesitate. If you'd like to submit a trivia quiz, you can, and I will take it into consideration. I will most likely use it. If not, I'll at least use some of the questions in the random trivia quizzes. So just shoot me an email, roadtripvia@gmail.com. You can send it there, and I will eventually read it. Probably not in the next week while I'm traveling around, but I will get to it. And this goes especially to the people from Australia who are always asking me to stop doing so much American-themed pop culture. I don't know anything except for American pop culture. So if you want some Australian pop culture or some Australian sports questions, I'm going to have to get them from one of you. Feel free to shoot them over. Anyways, a lot of rambling on this video. I apologize. I'll see you tomorrow for less rambling, more questions. Have a good day.